Welcome back to CJ's Keto Kitchen. Tonight we are going to do the second recipe in our seasonal recipe series, and this one is focusing on Thanksgiving recipe ideas. So tonight we are going to be making keto pumpkin donuts. And what could be more Thanksgiving than pumpkin donuts? Please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell because we are in the middle of our Thanksgiving seasonal series. And I also plan on doing one for the month of December, focusing on Christmas-themed holiday recipes. And we definitely don't want you to miss out on that. So please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so that you will know when we upload those new recipes. Without further ado, let's get started making some donuts. So to start our donut part of our keto pumpkin donuts, we need to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. We also need to prepare a cookie sheet with our donut molds. These are just silicone. They'll be linked in our Amazon favorites. Mine came in a 2-pack. I have used them before to make our keto everything bagels. And you need to place them on a cookie sheet because, of course, they're silicone. So those are the things that we are going to need before we begin preparing the donuts. So to begin, we want to mix our dry ingredients together. And so you need a largish bowl. I'm going to be using a sifter. You don't have to have a sifter, but I do like to use one. So the first thing that we are going to need is almond flour. And you need 1.5 cups of almond flour. And I'm just going to put that right into the sifter. The next ingredient that we are going to be using is organic oat fiber. Now keep in mind this is oat fiber, not oat flour. This is a ketogenically friendly fiber that is going to give us that cake donut feel to our pumpkin donuts, but it is essentially 0 carbs because it's 4 grams of fiber and 4 carbs, so it's completely fiber, but it is going to give our donuts that heft that we're looking for, that cakeness. And we're going to be using 1/4 cup. Don't have this product. This bag is going to last a very long time. I got mine on Amazon. It will be linked in our favorites. You could use ground flaxseed if you preferred. You could also use additional almond flour, but I really feel like this particular ingredient gives us that nice cakey element that we're looking for when we're making a cake donut. So I'm putting that in. Next we need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We are also going to put in 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie seasoning. Because, of course, these are pumpkin donuts. If you don't have pumpkin pie spice, what is in it is cinnamon, cloves, ginger, allspice, and nutmeg. So it is actually a better bargain if you just buy the pumpkin pie seasoning all blended together. But if you have the 5 of those spices, you could absolutely just do them individually. We are also going to add about 1/2 of a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to sift those dry ingredients all together. Okay, so our dry ingredients have been sifted, and I'm going to set those aside. The next thing we are going to do, we need a small bowl. I'm going to use 3 eggs in this recipe, but they are going to be separated. We are going to whisk together our egg whites separately because that will give a fluffiness to our donuts. So I'm going to separate the eggs here. I'm going to set the yolks aside to be used in just a minute with the rest of our wet ingredients. So when separating eggs, you just kind of want to open the shell halfway, and then you just move the yolk from side to side into either shell until all the egg whites come into the bowl. Yolk goes there. Okay, eggs separated. So now I am going to take my hand mixer and I'm going to whip up these egg whites until they become foamy. Okay, you can see that our egg whites are now foamy. They're white and foamy. I'm going to set those aside while we mix up the rest of our wet ingredients. So in a separate medium-sized bowl, we are going to place the egg yolks that we separated. We want to add sweetener, and in this case we are going to be using our Sucre & Gold brown sugar alternative. And we need a 1/2 cup. A teaspoon of vanilla extract, we need 2 tablespoons of softened butter, and then of course we need pumpkin, because after all these are pumpkin donuts. And you want to make sure that you're getting 100% pure pumpkin, because brands like Libby's and other pumpkin brands do make a product that is a pumpkin pie filling. And that will have other things in it, such as sugar and other spices and things like that, that you're able to just put in a bowl with your eggs and make a pumpkin pie. And you don't want that because it is a sugar sweetened product. So you're looking for just 100% pure pumpkin. And we need 3/4 cup, which is a little more than 6 ounces, and that's about half of this can. So I'm just going to put half of this can in. I'm going to put in my other set of beaters because I have taken my whisk attachment out. And I'm going to put my regular beaters in for this. Okay, we have mixed together our wet ingredients. The rest is going to be done by hand. Now we are going to take our egg whites and we are going to fold those into the rest of our wet batter. And we want to do this gently. So basically just over and under. Over and under. That way we keep the integrity of our egg whites. We keep the fluffiness in there. and we don't break them down too much.
That's how I feel without you. Like a door without a key. Like a wave without the sea.
Okay, now we have all of our liquids combined, and we're going to start slowly adding a little at a time our dry ingredients to our batter. So here we have our nice sifted product, and I'm just going to put half in and fold it into our wet ingredients with our spatula.
That's how I feel without you. But oh, how I miss.
Making sure to get the bottom. Okay, there's half our ingredients. Now we're going to put the other half in, making sure we get everything out of our bowl. And we're just continuing to gently incorporate everything.
Like cold November rain. Like a man without a name.
Okay, everything is now combined into our dough. I'm going to clean up my work area, and then I will be back to show you our next step. I'm going to spray our silicone pans with a little bit of avocado oil spray. Now the next step, I'm going to be using a piping bag with the large nozzle. Alternately, if you do not have a piping bag, you can use a food storage bag with the tip cut off at the end, one of the corners. And then you just open up your bag, whether you're using a piping bag or a food storage bag, and you just roll it down. Because the closer you get to your tip, then the less dough collects at the top of your bag. So, and I have done that here. I've rolled my piping bag down, and I have my tip in. And I'm just going to load some of our dough into the bag. And then you roll up your bag and scoot your dough all the way down, and then you twist it. And this is whether you are using a food storage bag or a piping bag. And then you can just start squeezing your donut dough in. And then you can just take your finger and press it down. And I'm going to show you what it looks like with the food storage bag as well. And just kind of press the tops down. You could wet it if it gets too sticky. So I'm going to take my food storage bag, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my dough in. And I'm going to take it as far down to the corner as I can. And this actually might be more ideal for this situation because it's coming out larger, which is what we are looking for. And then we just press it down with our finger. Like I said, if it starts to stick to you, you can wet your finger. And we are just going to fill all of these. just topping off some of the shorter ones just to make sure that our donuts turn out evenly. We are going to bake these for about 20 minutes at 350 degrees. Remember, we preheated our oven in the beginning. And so these are going to go in for about 20 minutes, and then we are going to put a glaze / frosting on them. Okay, here we go, into the oven, 20 minutes. So they are done. My knife inserted came out clean. I'm going to set these aside to cool for a minute while we work on our glaze. Before we get started on our glaze, I have set aside our cooked donuts to start cooling. You're going to need some cooling racks of some kind. And I'm going to place wax paper under mine because when we begin the icing process, it might come down under our cooling racks. And that way you avoid getting the icing all over your counters. Okay. Now to begin our icing. And you can make this however thick that you would like. And you could dip on the top only. You can dip on the top and all sides. You can double dip and make more of a frosting type glaze. It's completely personal preference, and I will be showing you both ways. So we need to begin with about 3 ounces of softened cream cheese. And it's not melted, it is just softened. And to that, we are going to add about 4 tablespoons of monk fruit erythritol blend powdered. And you definitely want to use a powdered product in this instance because we are making an icing and we want it to be smooth. If you cannot find a powdered product, or if you already have a erythritol product that you would like to use that is granular, you can run this through your coffee grinder or food processor and get that powdered consistency. The amount of sweetener that you use is a personal preference. Some people like things sweeter and some do not. These donuts themselves are not very sweet. That's why I'm using 4 tablespoons here, but if you do not care for it to be that sweet, you can absolutely lessen the amount of sweetener. It's nowhere near the sweetness of a traditional donut, of course. So I'm going to combine our cream cheese and our sweetener. Get everything incorporated, just with a spoon. At this point, we are also going to add our flavor extracts. I'm going to put in about a teaspoonful of vanilla, and that's just pure vanilla extract. I'm also going to put in a similar amount of maple extract. Maple and pumpkin are a traditional combination, but you do not have to have this or use this if you do not care for maple. I'm just going to combine everything. Now at this point is when we want to start adding some heavy cream, and we're just going to put it in about a tablespoon at a time until it reaches the consistency that you would like for glazing. So I'm putting in 1 tablespoon of heavy cream. I'm also going to put in 1 tablespoon of hot water, recently off the boil. You could do either or both, like what I'm doing. And we're just going to stir until our glaze reaches the consistency that we would like it to be in order to ice our donuts. Because you're going to want to be able to dip your donut in here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about when it comes to doing that process. So you want it to be the viscosity that is going to accomplish that the easiest. And I'm going to do that step just one more time. We have our icing all prepared, and I'm just going to kind of set that aside, and we're going to check on our donuts, pop them out of the molds, and put them onto our cooling rack. And you want to do this carefully because they are hot. And put them onto our cooling rack, and that will ensure that they get cool on all sides so that we can begin icing them. And that one. Doing this prematurely. That one's breaking apart. I'm going to finish removing the donuts from the silicone pan and putting them on the rack. I've let them cool extra because I tried to pull one of them out and it didn't make it. It made it into our stomachs, but it didn't make it onto my cooling rack. So you definitely have to be careful with these because they are very moist, which, you know, is a good thing. You don't want a dry donut, but you definitely have to be careful taking them out. Just FYI. Okay. Now we're going to start glazing them. And you can see that my glaze is quite fluid, which is what we want. And I'm just going to take a donut and I'm going to dip into our glaze. And that's what it looks like. And I'm going to set it down. And that's why I have placed the wax paper under my cooling rack, so it will catch the residual icing. And after these dry and harden a bit, you can come back and double dip them if you want more icing than what is on them currently. They're there. Just gonna let them rest and let the glaze harden up a little bit. I might try and double dip, depending on how long it takes to harden it. And then we're going to let CJ have a taste. Hi CJ.
Hi.
Welcome to Sarah's House of Donuts.
Okay.
Tonight, we are having keto pumpkin donuts.
They look good. The piece that got broken was good.
And that one I cut in half so you can see how yummy and moist it is on the inside. And you do have to be careful when you take them out of the silicone molds. Make sure they're really cool.
It's good. Tastes like pumpkin. And it's great for the holiday. Anything with pumpkin is good. They seem like they were pretty easy to make.
Yeah. The actual batter is not hard.
Yeah. I know you have to be careful.
They're very moist, which
Yeah, they're really
you want.
moist.
You don't want a dry donut.
They're not dry. It'll be interesting to see what they're like tomorrow. I mean, we just made these. We actually put these in the refrigerator to kind of speed up the frosting, hardening. Yeah. But they're good. I like them. It will be interesting to see how they are tomorrow, and I'll probably take one to work and have it with a cup of coffee.
Sounds good.
Good job, baby. I think people will like these. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us again tonight, you guys. We hope that you enjoy the donuts and that you actually get to eat some and they're not eaten by everyone else around you, because they sure are delicious and you definitely cannot tell that they are low carb friendly. We hope that you will consider subscribing and sticking around for more of our videos. We have lots of holiday recipes from the last 2 years, and all of those can be found on our blog, including this recipe, and our blog is cjsketokitchen.com. There we have our recipes, most of which are printable, all of your macros, ingredients, and anything else that you might need concerning this recipe and the ones that we have already done. We are also on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and a lot of times we upload photographs, teaser recipes, things that we've done in previous years, things that we're currently eating, things that we anticipate making. So definitely check us out on those areas as well, and that is CJ's Keto Kitchen. So we hope that you'll come back and see us again next week for another Thanksgiving themed recipe, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Yeah.